We got it again. We have your weekend Apple news. Welcome back to the channel, and you guys know the drill by now, right? On the weekends, what I do is I kind of have a beer on the weekends. I introduce what I'm drinking. Then I go through 20 or 25 different Apple-related stories. So if you love Apple products, Apple services, just sit back and relax. Let's have some fun on the weekend. We have your Apple news. All right, so what do I have today? I actually have Kona Light Blonde Ale. Now, I had another Kona product. This is by the Kona Brewing Company. It's a super, super light beer. It says 99 calories. I got to watch my figure, right? So Kona Light, it's a blonde ale. You can see the color of it right here. It's actually super, super light if you're out in the heat and stuff in the summer. Got a good taste to it, so I love this company. Anyways, enjoy your coffee, your cappuccino, whatever you're having, lemonade, and let's get into the Apple news. All right, so story number one could either be good news or bad news, depending on how you look at it. Over here at Apple Insider, it says Apple Vision Pro sequel stalls as work continues on cheaper consumer headset continues. So this is interesting, right? So obviously, let's just go down here. This just makes a little more information, or a little bit more sense here. According to a report from The Information, Apple has told at least one supplier that the work on the next high-end Vision, basically the Vision Pro, has stalled. This is allegedly in response to slowing sales on the premium headset. So we kind of knew that they're slowing down. It wasn't a huge success, but with bigger corporations, it is. So maybe, obviously, they're going to continue using them on the higher-end headset. So that's kind of bad news, right? But then as we kind of scroll down a little bit further, there's a new version that they're actually working on. It's called the N109. So it says the lower-priced Vision headset has an internal code name N109 with a potential price hovering around $1,600 if it is eventually released. So there we go. So this is exactly what I thought, right? It's actually good news, I think. So if Apple's realizing people aren't going to be spending $3,000 to $4,000 to $5,000 in the Vision Pro like I anticipated, but for $1,600, and that's around the cost I said around $1,500, I think a lot of people will, right? Do you? Anyways, let's hope this comes out. Story number one. All right, story number two is just a follow-up to what I've talked about before. It kind of makes me a little sad or maybe a little happy at the same time. Same thing as the last article, but it says right here, 9 to 5 Mac, M4 MacBook Pro on track for late 2024 debut, analyst says. So it says, according to Young, supply chain research suggests that the panel shipments in the new 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pro models are set to begin in Q3 2024. So based on timelines, that says Q4 2024 is when they're going to ship. So we got to wait until Q4 2024 for the new MacBooks. But I mean, maybe that's good news, right? But the really bad news is down here. It says, looking further into the future, the MacBook Air will be out, it says, with the M4 chip in early to mid 2025, followed by the Mac Studio and the Mac Pro in 2025. If that's actually true, I can't imagine waiting. Those only have M2 chips on it. The Air obviously has the M3, but the other one only have M2 chips. So how can we wait till late 2025? That seems crazy to me, but that's what they're all saying. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. I am too, but the funny thing is my last video I did was on the iPad, all right, about the M4, not buying it because it's just, the OS isn't good enough. You know, there's this funny dynamic going on. People that love Macs and Windows PCs, they fight all the time. But there's actually a dynamic between people that use iPads and MacBooks and stuff. They hate each other too. It's really crazy, right? Anyways, I said in that video that buy something cheaper because the OS is the same for all those devices. Here's an example of what you should probably buy. Best Buy right now is having a sale. Look at this. It's the 10.9, the iPad Air right here. It's only the 5th generation, but it still has an M1 chip, faster than anyone needs, 64 gigs of RAM, $399 right now, usually $599, so $200 off at Best Buy. This is what you should really be buying. Why spend $1,600 with the keyboard and everything for an M4 Pro version when you can pick this up for $399, and it's not going to be that much of a difference. I know the screen makes a difference for some and stuff. If you're one of those people, that's fine, but this is actually a really good deal. All right, so this next story here is actually good news. It says 9 to 5 Mac. Not a fan of audio messages. Here's how to adjust the playback speed in iMessage finally. So a lot of people don't know about this, or they don't even know it exists. So it says down here, it says, however, not everyone likes listening to long audio messages. So if someone leaves you an audio message, like they love to talk into it, it's really easy to do. But then you got this giant long audio message to listen to. There's actually a way around it. So if you scroll on here, it says basically open the conversation in iMessages, and then it says find the audio message that you want. It says tap and hold the play button. This is key here, and then choose the playback speed. So look down here. So here's the play button. You hold that down, and then you get different speeds. So you can listen to things in 2 times the speed. So if someone gives you a minute message, it's only 30 seconds, and it can go pretty quickly. So just a tip out there, if you don't know about this feature, it's a great feature to use. This next story saddens me just a little bit. You tell me if it saddens you too. It says right here, Apple Insider, not all new Apple Intelligence features will be available in the fall. We were kind of expecting them. It was kind of a good, WWDC, but they're not all coming right away. So down here, if we scroll down, it says, to be clear, a number of the main AI features will be available. So that's basically going to be things like prioritizing notifications, summarizing long text, emails, and messages. That's easy. Then down here, it says also other things like the Gemoji image generation will be there. The improvement for writing tools, transcription capabilities will all be built in. That's all going to be there. And if I scroll down here, it says the ability to calculate math problems written with notes and stuff. That's all going to be in the initial launch. So all that stuff's coming initially. So what is not going to be in the actual product until almost into 2025? This is the crazy part. So I went down to this article. It says one of the biggest features that is likely to be delayed until early 2025 is the revamp of Siri, believe it or not. Can you believe that? The voice assistant says some of the advanced personal context features Apple highlighted in its presentation will not be fully present in the initial OS launch in the fall. So not only is it not going to come out in the fall, but it's way past that. It says basically things like when's my mom's flight landing, or asking it to optimize a photo and send in a message and stuff, like the things that they showed. Maybe not until 2025. It won't come in the initial launches. At least that's what this article is saying. So, while I thought that thing was great for Apple and all the AI they're doing, it just doesn't look like they were fully ready at the time, and they're kind of building out those servers and everything. So we'll see when it comes, but it looks like you may have to wait a little bit longer. All right, so if you are still thinking about the iPad Pro and you still want to pick one up, the good news on Amazon right now is they're having a whole bunch of sales, small ones, but they're sales, and it just came out. Here's the first one. It's Apple. This is the 13-inch M4 Pro, iPad Pro here, just the base model, but $12.19 from $12.99, so already 6% off. So you're saving, what, 80 or 70 bucks there, and it just came out a couple weeks ago. That's not bad. That's the base model, 13-inch. If you go to the next one over here, this is the 13-inch again. You got upgraded RAM at 512 gigabytes here. So that's usually $14.99. You get $100 off now for $13.99. So already that's 7% discount. Not bad for something that just came out. These are all on Amazon. I'll have links to these. The next one over here is only $9.44. So this is usually $9.99, about $50 off or so. This is the 11-inch M4, and it's the base model. So instead of paying $1,000, you get a little money there to maybe put into a pencil or a keyboard. Everything helps, right? And then finally, they have one more sale. I mean, they have a whole bunch. Just check it out. This is the new Air here. This is going to be the 11-inch M2 Air here, 128 gigs, so kind of the base model. What is it? $569. Not a big sale here. It's usually $599. But they're not giving as much, obviously, in the smaller versions here. But still, it's better than nothing, right? So if you're looking for any type of these iPads, check out Amazon and all their sales going on. I'll have links, but check them out and see what you like. All right, so Apple's actually, they don't usually do this that often. That's why it's kind of big news here. It says right here, Apple Insider, Mac App Store with new game sale has big discounts on major titles. So they're kind of discounting a whole bunch of their games if you're kind of an Apple gamer, even though is that even a thing? Anyways, over here, we scroll down here, it says right here, here's all the lists of games right now going on sale. You can see in here like Death Stranding, Director's Cut, usually $39 or $40, now half off. Basically, all the stuff's half off. Resident Evil Village, $16, was $39 actually, so that's even more than half off. Return to Monkey Island, $24 to $12. You get the idea here. SnowRunner, $29 to $14. Transport Fever, $35. So anyways, you get the idea, right? Everything's basically half off or more right now on a lot of these kind of bigger titles. So if you're looking to get some of these Apple games and just try them out, now is the perfect time. All right, so watchOS 11, there's some changes happening, and this is one of the good changes here. Take a look here, 9 to 5 Mac. watchOS 11 finally lets users change their Apple Watch ringtone. And I didn't even know that wasn't even a thing yet. I mean, it seems kind of crazy to me, but I guess in watchOS 11, they're going to finally let you change the ringtone. And if you scroll down here, it says right here, luckily watchOS 11 changes that. So it says the beta preview available to developers adds the option to change the ringtone. There are 8 different ringtones users can choose from, including the previous ones from GPS and cellular versions. So here they are. Pebbles, Focus, Jingle, Nighthawk, Transmit, Twirl, Roundup, Wonder. But then it says, in addition to ringtone, users can change the notification sounds also on emails and all that stuff to all of these. So you get the idea. It's finally coming where you can make a different ringtone for your watch. Pretty good. All right, this next article here is another one that makes me have to take a sip because it gets me a little upset again. Here we go. Future HomeKit. This is from Apple Insider. Future HomeKit could track you through your house and predict your needs, all right? I don't want this. Do you want this? It says a future version of HomeKit may keep track of where the people are in the house and learn user habits to figure out when to automatically take actions without having you to actually talk to Siri. Again, I don't want this. I don't want anything following me around the house, knowing where I am. Maybe I'm old school. I understand some of the benefits, but there's too many negatives for me. And look at this is funny. So I go down here. It says right here, users often perform the same repeated actions with accessory devices while in a particular location. So this says, for example, every time a user comes home from work, they may close the garage door when they're in the kitchen, all right? So this thing would automatically close the garage door. But the one time grandma is still getting out of the car and it crushes her with the garage door, that didn't work too well, right? Things change. Things in life change. I don't want that thing shutting my garage for me, because then I forget to do it sometimes. And then something breaks or the internet's down and nothing works and then someone steals my car, right? I don't like it. You tell me if you guys like this kind of stuff. This is the kind of AI I think's creepy. The other stuff Apple's doing, I like. This is a little creepy to me. All right, this next one is just another funny story. I don't know how to. It's sad and funny at the same time. It says right here, Apple Insider, Apple Crime Blotter, tracked iPad helps catch kids who stole their teacher's car. All right, so I went down here and I read this. It says a pair of 12-year-olds from Nashville stole an SUV belonging to their teacher and drove it more than 70 miles. It says they were caught, however, after their parents tracked them via iPad left in the car. It says basically they took the keys off the person's desk, the teacher's desk, all right? So here we are again, Apple devices saving people when they get lost cars and all that kind of stuff. But when I was a kid, we used to give my teacher an apple. I wouldn't steal her car, right? Is this something new? Is this something new that you give to your teacher? It's crazy to me, right? I mean, weren't they thinking they're going to get caught for sure? I mean, there's cameras everywhere. I mean, who knows? You tell me, is this the way the world's going? It's kind of sad. At the same time, Apple saved it. All right, so if you're a budget person like me, likes to save money, all right, and you picked up a brand new iPad or something. Obviously, they have the brand new keyboards, are $300, but let's just say you want to save a little bit of money. You're not that into the keyboards. Over here, Logitech launches new generation of its portable Keys-to-Go keyboard for tablets. You can see a picture of it right here. So it says, for those unfamiliar, Keys-to-Go is a slim, lightweight, and compact keyboard from Logitech. Although it can be used with any Bluetooth device, including Macs and PCs, it's perfect for tablet owners who prefer to have a dedicated keyboard, not really always attached to it. So that's kind of the trade-off. But you can see here, they're actually really inexpensive. Here on Amazon, again, I'll have a link to this, but only $80 right here. And they actually have the keys built in for the Macs. You can get them both PC and Mac. So depending on how you want them, you can get different keys. So it definitely has the control option and command keys and stuff like that. Overall, though, I think that's a good deal. So instead of spending $300, you can get this for $79, $80. It's not perfect, obviously. Let's see in here. Show some pictures of the guy carrying it around. I guess it's just like a keyboard, basically, that folds into like folds into its own like little package, right? You carry that and you just unfold it, and you have to have something like a stand or something for your iPad. But overall, you get a good keyboard for $79. I think that's the way I would go, because I just can't spend $300. But I know a lot of people love those keyboards, so who knows? All right, so this next one. Now that's really light beer, really light, so 99 calories, can't go wrong, right? So over here it says AI, Apple Insider. Apple wants you to be able to just point at things to learn about them. So there's a new patent coming out. If you look at this picture here, I mean, it looks like a 2-year-old drew this, but still, it's kind of funny. So, but long story short is if you go down to this other article, or this other little diagram down here, it says, would you like to know more about this landmark? Yes, no. Here's more additional information. So what this patent's saying is, like, you have your watch on and you just point at something. It could be any kind of product or anything like that. And if you have this like thing on while it knows you're pointing at things, you can point at it, and then it's going to say, do you want more information? Where do you want to buy it? Stuff like that. It's crazy, right? But I mean, I just don't know how, obviously throughout the day you might be pointing at various objects and it might just keep dinging and stuff like that. So I'm not sure how it knows or how easy it is to turn it on and off, because it could be annoying eventually. But still, it's interesting, and it looks like they are going to be coming out with this soon on the watch. So we'll see how this actually translates into like real-world use and stuff like that. I don't know. If you point at an individual person, is it going to then be able to tell you who that is as well? That's the scary thing. All right, so we talked about this a couple minutes ago, but here's another article. It says 9 to 5 Mac, social media apps may gain tobacco-style warning labels as U.S. Surgeon General sounds alarm over the youth impact. So, I mean, if you go on to say tobacco products, in the U.S. contain very blatant, obvious warning labels about their health risks, and we've all seen that, right? And the reason I laugh about this is, like, the government has so many things to do, and this is is this really what they should be spending their time on? We all know that there's problems with social media. I understand that. In fact, I hate it in most cases. But I mean, we all know how tobacco works, right? I went to Europe many times. In Europe, they actually have things like pictures of people's tongues falling out. They have the craziest pictures, the most disgusting pictures, and they have like the highest smoking rates over there. I think it increased the smoking because people got depressed. I think that's what it is, actually. So this is not going to work, obviously. Having a label now, every time you have to click on it, it's just going to make things annoying. They got other ways maybe around this to get something that's going to be better for people. I don't think these warning labels do anything, but you tell me in the comments. Here's another one by Apple Insider. It says, how Apple will label AI-generated images made with Playground. So we saw that new AI feature, who knows when it's going to come out, where it can create automated pictures. You tell it what you want, and it's going to create a picture for you. So down here it says, Apple Intelligence will be used for image generation in iOS 18. Pictures created with this image Playground will be marked. So it says, what it basically goes on to say is it's hard for people to know in the future what images are AI generated and which aren't, and how that's all going to work. But down here, let me just see here. Apple Insider has learned that the company plans to label AI generated images through image metadata known as an EXIF data. This means AI-generated images created through the Playground would be clearly marked through the metadata. The image source, which typically displays the name and brand of the camera, basically that they use to take the picture, will display Apple image background. So in that data, it's going to definitely mark that where you cannot change it, so you can't really trick people. And I think it's going to carry it through the whole, like if you modify it, it'll still be in there. Interesting stuff, right? But I think it's the right step because you want to know if something's fake or something's real, right? This is one way to do it, but I know there's going to be, people will figure ways around it right away, so we're going to have to combat that as well. This next one I thought was actually pretty interesting. And it says, iOS dramatically accelerates iPhone 15 Pro Mac neural processing, all right? So this is from Apple Insider. So obviously, when you get a new phone, obviously the processing gets better and stuff. But in this case, it says right here, on the iPhone 15, Pro Max, just by going to iOS 18 versus iOS 17, it's actually increased the speed of the phone on neural processing. So if you go down here in the article, it shows like an article. They tested it right here. Same exact phone. You can see here. So here's the earlier version over here of iOS 17. It's 6249 for the score. But on iOS 18, it's now 7816. You can see that dramatic increase. It didn't change the phone, didn't change any of the hardware. It's all done to the, basically the operating system, which is kind of cool. So obviously they're getting ready for this. They're trying to make everything more efficient. Just an interesting article. All right, this next one I thought was interesting too. I mean, just more data, right? It says right here, 9to5 Mac. New study reveals how many people consider CarPlay a must-have in a new car. Now, I thought it was super, super high. This article tells me something a little bit differently, right? It says the survey conducted by this company here found that 30% of people globally shopping for an electric car consider the lack of CarPlay support as a deal breaker. So globally, it's 30%. But you got to understand, like most people in globally don't use Apple phones, right? They're too expensive. So we kind of scroll down here, though. It says if you narrow down the survey to the U.S. only, the numbers shift slightly only. But CarPlay is still a key factor. According to the survey, only 25% of EV buyers in the U.S. wouldn't consider buying a car without CarPlay. Meanwhile, 38% of ICE, which is gas cars. So 38% of gas cars wouldn't buy a car if it didn't have Apple AirPlay. So that's basically going to be a little bit better, right? Or what I thought more online. But I still thought it would be way higher. And that's actually what they kind of, 9to5 Mac did their own survey over here. It says last year they surveyed 6,000 9to5 Mac readers, and it said, what is it? Yes. So what is this? Would you buy a car that doesn't have CarPlay? Only 11% would. 80% would not. Can you imagine that? Now, granted, this is the 9to5 Mac. So it's all Mac users actually, that are responding to this conversation. So it's going to be skewed for sure. So it's either between 35% and 80% of the people would not buy a car. And GM's doing, what are they doing? They're getting rid of it. So anyways, I thought that was kind of a funny statistic there. And but you can see, obviously, this is going to be skewed because these are all Mac readers. But still, pretty interesting. All right, good news here. 9to5 Mac, Apple Store Back to School deal. Get up to $150 gift card with the purchase of a Mac or an iPad. So going back to school, they have their sales going on. Right now you can get a $150 gift card on a new MacBook Air or MacBook Pro, or just a $100 card if you purchase a Mac Mini in any of the new iPad models. So the M4 and stuff like that. So you get $150 on those other, the Macs, and then you get, $100 on some of the other, basically the iPads. This next one is actually interesting to me because I don't think it can be true, but they're claiming it is, right? It's a rumor, obviously. Apple Insider says Apple Watch Series 10 to be thinner and have a larger screen. So thinner is obviously what Apple's kind of moving towards with everything, and I don't know why they keep going that route, but they are. So, but it says down here, we've heard this guy before. Analyst Ming Chi Koi claims that Apple Watch 10 series is getting its 10th anniversary redesign. And, let's just kind of scroll down here. Let's see if we can find it. Writing in his full blog post, he says that the Series Watch 10 will increase to sizes from 41 millimeters and 45 all the way up to 45 and 49. So it's going from 41 to 45, 45 to 49. So he's saying they're all getting bigger. He also says the larger of those two options would make the regular Apple Watch screen the same size as the Apple Watch Ultra. He's saying that they'll also have a new Apple Watch Ultra 3. So those are some rumors about the Apple Watch, but still, I can't imagine, like, a lot of women, 41 millimeter. I mean, now they're going to be 45 millimeter. That's the thing that is kind of interesting to me. I don't think that could be even the case because some people can't wear a watch that big. According to him, though, that's what's coming. So I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen here, and if a lot of women will be able to have something that large on their wrist. All right, so we all wonder why Apple takes so long for AI features to come out. Well, here's one of the reasons. 9 to 5 Mac, it says Apple intelligence plans in China still unclear due to legal concerns. Interesting, right? So we go down here, it says Apple intelligence plans in the U.S. So when it launches in the U.S., Apple intelligence will have a 3-tiered approach we've kind of talked about before. It says as many tasks will be on the device, performed on the device, so that's good. It says next in line will be its own AI servers, private cloud compute, which they talked about, so some things will go off to them. And then as a fallback, it says a third-party AI system will be used like ChatGPT. We all have heard of that before. But then it goes on to say, but Chinese plans are unclear. China regulates the use of generative AI, and it says, and each one used in the country must be approved by the Cyberspace Administration of China. Only Chinese-run services are on this approved list. We know that for sure is the fallback of the AI system. So long story short, what is unclear is how Apple will be able to operate private cloud compute in the country. With iCloud, for example, Chinese law requires that only companies that can store and process cloud data. So Apple was forced to partner with a state-affiliated Chinese company, which decryption keys are reportedly held by the company. So basically, Apple has to dumb down their security totally, and when they go to China wants to control all of that stuff. Obviously, it's communist country, right? So long story short, that's what we get, and so it's interesting. That's what they have to go through, all these different hoops and stuff, and that's why things take longer. I know I kind of was messing with them a little bit earlier in the video, but this is why you have to deal with all this stuff, all the different countries, all the different regulations, and it's really, really tough. All right, this next one is just something good to know. So if you just bought a brand new iPad, a lot of the older pencils don't work with it. You know that. But here it's saying Apple Insider says how to use the original Apple Pencil with the new iPad. So I guess the original one works. Maybe the second generation won't, but you can get the original one to work. And I'm not going to go through all the details. You can go to Apple Insider to get the information. Just search for this article. But down here, I'll stop on it for a second, and you guys can kind of pause the page here. But it says how to connect to the original Apple Pencil to the new iPad right here. So here's the list of features. You can go ahead and pause it. I just want to let you know that feature is available. Like, you actually can use one of those old pencils if you still had one, and kind of good news, save some money for sure. All right, so I'm not a stock expert by any means. In fact, I'm not telling you to do whatever you want. Over here, though, Apple Insider, it says JP Morgan raises Apple stock target to $245 on AI announcements. So it says right here, analyst JP Morgan says that Apple's launch of AI features will prompt users to upgrade their iPhones, and this has raised the target price of their stock by $20, all right? So I have a little bit of Apple stock. Maybe I can't even remember if I do, but if I maybe sold it, but still going up. So I think it's around $225, somewhere in that range, may go up to $245. But this is not financial advice. Do your own research, because everything that goes up must come down. All right, this next one's cool because a lot of people don't even know this exists. I mean, some people do, some people don't. Right here, it says Beats Solo Buds review, Apple's best wireless audio bargain yet. So Beats just came out with this, basically, what's it called? Beats Solo Buds. They got a 4 out of 5. But, obviously this is for Apple. Apple owns them. So this is really kind of like the lowest price Apple, earbuds you can get for sure, instead of just buying the Apple branded ones. So if I go to the next page over here, it says review Beats Solo. It sets the standard with an 18-hour battery life, a compact design, and a low price. So we go over here. It's got basically, and once again, this is, Apple owns this. So it says battery life 18 hours, USB-C. It's got all these different features built into it. It's only $79.99. So long story short, if you're looking for kind of a budget type of earpods or whatever you want to call them right now, earbuds, and you want still, to work perfectly with Apple phones and everything, this is kind of the way to do it. I mean, Apple's not going to say that straight out, but if you're kind of on a budget, these are probably the best ones you can pick up, and they're supposedly like really small, the case and everything, and they work really well. I mean, they're not perfect, but for the cost, you can't go wrong. All right, and then finally, just because I have one sitting right here, and it's one of my favorite computers of all time, over here on B&H, it's right here, Apple 15-inch MacBook Air. This is the M2 version, M2, but the 15-inch. $13.99 right now, $300 off. And this is the exact version I have sitting right over here. So why is it this thing? It's basically, let me see here, 16 gigs of RAM in the 512 gigabyte SSD right here. 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigabyte SSD. So you can't go wrong. So I have this thing. It can do video editing. It never stutters on me at all. It's only the M2, I understand, and the M4s are coming out maybe in 2025 on the Airs. But still, $13.99. If it was around $12.99, $11.99 for sure, I'd say get it instantly. Forget the M3. $12.99, I would still be on the fence and be really, really close. $13.99 is getting up there, but still, $300 off, great computer. All right, so we're going to wrap up the weekend news. And again, cheers. Enjoy your coffee, whatever you like. So the plan of this whole channel is eventually this is going to be more of a live show. Initially, I might do some super thanks where you guys can send me whatever it is, whatever you want, and then you ask me a question, and then I'll put that question in the next video. If it's a small thing, then I'll put a small one in. Obviously, it's a big thing. It can make more of a bigger sense of it. So we'll figure out how we're going to do that. But you tell me what you guys want to see in this video. I love doing the news like this. It's kind of my weekend enjoyment because I learn a lot myself, right, just by researching it. But we'll talk to everybody in the next video. These happen once a week. In between here, I do tons of reviews and comment pieces and all that stuff. I have an OLED screen coming out for a Mac soon. Watch that. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.